Hey, Omega.
Yes, good.
Do you know what holiday we just celebrated?
Bastille Day?
No. Columbus Day. Columbus. So what possible person could I relate to Columbus on this particular day?
I don't know who.
Well, let's put it this way. He's a conqueror of peoples that doesn't necessarily want him to be, want him there, and then they gave the natives smallpox blankets just to kill them off. So basically, it's like the Authority. Triple H is Christopher Columbus. That is joke. Let's start the show. No time for joking around. Let's fly it down the shadow. We can progress. Let's celebrate. In fact, too long to track down. Laughing times. If you only get something from that. Whoa, get serious. Oh, whoa, get serious. Enough! Hey everybody, and welcome to the 93rd episode of Get Serious. I am Gunner, and that is Omega BR.
93, eh? Milli Vanilli must be topping the charts.
Yes, and we only have one more year until Kurt Cobain kills himself. I believe, right? I think. Yeah. Okay, so, and we also have that's our technical producer, Yankum DDS. Say hello, Yankum.
Hello, Yankum.
How did I know you were going to do that? Alright, so, we're going to be completely uninteresting, unsurprising, and, unrelenting with the news. So news this week. It turns out John Cena wasn't as hurt as the doctors originally expected, finding only a partial triceps tear, which WWE apparently knew about when they announced the original recovery time. The feeling was that with a thin roster, Cena had to come back as soon as possible. Christian and Wade Barrett are both scheduled to return to the active roster soon, the latter dealing with visa issues, and CM Punk dealing with several back and knee issues. The hope is that he can take time off before WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio, the person that we keep telling you that it was going to debut, but doesn't, will be appearing on the Tour of Mexico, but won't be wrestling, and may not return to ring action by the end of the year. Bray Wyatt suffered a nasty fall at a house show over the weekend and a deep calf bruise that could keep him out of the ring for a month, delaying the scheduled pay-per-view match with The Miz. I read a rumor that it was going to be pushed back to Survivor Series. There are rumblings that Damian Sandow will turn face and have a run with the world title, as he was told not to do cartwheels and singing anymore since NXT star Aiden English is doing them now. And the TV star may look minor league if doing what an NXT star is doing. Yeah, that sounds about the kind of logic that I'm used to. The thing that I'm interested the most is Wade Barrett and Christian returning.
Barrett's kind of a guy who, ever since the Nexus really disbanded and Cena, buried him under all those chairs at TLC, he really hasn't had a strong footing on the roster. He's had a couple titles and stuff, but he hasn't really gotten the chance to shine like some other people have, like Ziggler or Ziggler.
Can I just be the one to call bullshit on the whole thin roster thing? They've got lots of people.
In fact, that's the whole point. They have more people than they know what to do with.
When they say thin roster, they don't mean bodies. They mean people that are over.
Well, gee, why aren't people
Get
over?
a chance. People who have been given the chance and succeeded. And, continued to get the chance and weren't just sort of, shoved back in the mid-card. I mean, because, there's probably a core of like 8 guys they really depend on. Like your John Cena, CM Punk, Randy Orton, for some reason, Sheamus, who's out, Rey Mysterio, Del Rio, I guess.
I don't know that Rey Mysterio
I guess.
still goes on that list. He hasn't been on TV in a pretty long time.
But he's still a top guy, a top guy, top merch seller, top promotion getter. I mean, there have been reports in the past that they've been pretty tired of putting up with him and his injuries and things like that, and his kind of wishy-washiness. But the fact is, they still have him and they still want him.
Because he sells masks and he's Mexican.
I'm just waiting for the Torito masks. And yeah, that's the ironic thing too, is most masked guys take the masks off once they get to the main roster. Anyway, about Cena, big surprise. Oh well.
I was really annoyed actually because people were because everybody else was worked too. We hear the report of people saying step up in the time that Cena's gone, and it only took Cena 4 weeks until he came back. Really, who's going to step up in those 4 weeks?
Oh, you know how it is. If they like you, then you get to step up, and if they don't, then not so much. I always remember that story that Steve Corino told about how he gets a tryout in a dark match, and they get 5 minutes, and they basically told him, okay, you got 5 minutes, go get out there and get over in 5 minutes, and he's like, well, it's not an easy feat to do, And then you look at guys like Zack Ryder, who supposedly, do what they want, and then get punished for it. So,
Hey, Zack's getting over. Zack's doing some stuff. Zack is actually, getting matches on Raw instead of not. Go figure, right?
Well, I think he stopped. I think they kind of half forgot about him, and so when they need a body on the show, he's there.
Forever Chopper.
Best, ladies and gentlemen.
Holy shit. Everybody, it's Vassar. Hey, buddy. Hello.
I've missed you, Vassar.
Fart butt.
Anal live on the air.
Huh?
We're
live on the air.
Yeah, we're live broadcasting right now.
Where?
On the internet.
We'll get serious. Our show. Or their show. Whose show?
Ladies and gentlemen, Anal Octopus.
Hello. And if they had told you before or if I hadn't told any of them, my absence was mostly due to internet and family-related issues, and may continue a little bit longer, but I'll try to get back whenever I can.
Well,
Alright. Enough of that chicanery from the peanut gallery. Let's move on here to a topic we can all enjoy. TNA. Or you see, Figure 4 Weekly Online reports that Hulk Hogan will be staying with TNA after TNA offered him more money than WWE did, believe it or not. But PW Insider disputes he is actually signed and claims he remains a free agent at the moment. despite the feeling that Hogan could have helped WrestleMania regain its big boost in numbers. It said that what WWE offered was nowhere close to what they've offered other stars in the past, and that Hogan will make in 1 year with TNA what The Rock and Brock Lesnar tend to make with one match in WWE. Bob Carter, Dixie's father, is no longer listed as an officer of Panda Energy, while his wife Janice is listed as president and CEO and remains the financial decider for the company. Larry Zbyszko claimed in an interview that Carter, Bob that is, was fired and half the TNA roster actually on food stamps. Former Jersey Shore star Angelina Pivarnik revealed on a podcast that TNA paid her late for her appearance 3 years ago, having to call Dixie Carter personally to get that payment. And tickets for the November 21st Impact taping in Baltimore are already discounted, with entire rows by the ramp still open. So, it's hard to really say it, because what can you say, really, about Hulk Hogan? If they keep him, then they kind of deserve what they get. And if they don't, well, they've still got a lot of problems they have to solve.
It won't really surprise anyone to find out that the entire TNA roster was on food stamps and had the Obama cell phones, and that Bischoff and Hogan were the only ones able to feed their families out of their paychecks.
I don't know, Zbyszko said of Hogan that basically that they could get somebody who could do something, but instead they get Hogan, who, his name value alone is basically all he has for outside interest, but, it's not like TNA is getting a bunch of great sponsors.
The direct auto insurance, man, you need that direct auto insurance.
Permanent General, bitch!
And Bischoff too. I think I consider Bischoff a bit of a hack, really. I think he's moderately successful at things like reality shows and business and pitching, and which is really what they brought him in to do in the first place. He was never supposed to be an on-screen character or do any booking or anything. But of course, we all knew what would happen. So I don't know. I feel he got kind of lucky in the 90s with what he achieved. Not to dismiss that achievement, but Anyway, point being is, TNA does not seem to be very interested in realizing the brevity of their situation.
I think it's a joke that it's known that TNA is it's really one big shitty indie. For those of you who are unaware, it's an independent promotion, much like the ones that you find in the Northeast, somewhere near north of New York. I'm trying to think of a couple off the top of my head, like Family Entertainment Wrestling or something like that. Where they book like Tommy Dreamer and Shelton Benjamin and ex-WWE guys to wrestle, and they sell out gymnasiums essentially. And it just to me seems that like TNA has not only relegated itself to the secondary role, but has been brutally and forcefully sat back down into that distant second, if you will. And while good thing to have a second, it's still a terrible, terrible, terrible thing that it's a distant second. And hey, they brought in Hogan. It was a good experiment. It's time to move on, though. Definitely time to move on, because we're getting all this stuff about TNA and their money problems. Well, what do you expect? Speaking of things, what do you expect? Backstage at Battleground was said to be a mess, as match finishes weren't revealed until 2 hours prior to the start time due to block leaks and betting. The belief being that employees call friends and family to place bets for them. The power outage at the pay-per-view didn't help things, and Vince McMahon is now paranoid the same thing will happen at the Superdome during WrestleMania, since it occurred at the Super Bowl and Mania uses much more power between pyro, lighting, and production. Speaking of Mania, tentative plans for a Goldberg versus Ryback match are already being made up in case both sides come to a deal, which neither have taken off the table. John Cena also told ESPN2 that there was a deeper story behind him losing to Rock at WrestleMania 28, a story he hopes one day to tell down the line. I heard that there was another story attached to that. Does anybody have any idea what that was?
Nope.
I can only assume. Well, your first instinct is that it's both men wanted to win, and they felt that they should be the winner. And perhaps Cena felt that because at the time, they didn't necessarily know that they would do the rematch next year and this and that, so perhaps Cena felt that it was better that he win, or maybe Cena was sort of expecting Rock to pass the torch to him in a way. Maybe Rock presented himself in a certain manner. Because, remember, when this whole thing first kind of started, that there were some legitimate... The whole reason the feud was even a feud in the beginning, in the first place, was because of comments Cena made about how Rock wasn't really that interested in coming back and being part of wrestling again. He was more of an actor. And, and then there was the fact that, you have people like CM Punk saying, Dwayne, he shows up, he'll say hi, but he doesn't really, he keeps to himself, he doesn't really talk to anybody, that kind of thing. So that's probably changed in the past 2-3 years, now that they've been such a big part of the program. But, I would wager it had something to do with that. Maybe perhaps some kind of Hollywood prima donna stuff.
Do you think The Rock really is that much of a prima donna? I mean, do you think that he would not, do you think the reports are true?
Well, I think in a way, because it's what Cena and Punk said, but I don't think he's such a huge prima donna that, he was... It might have been surprising the way he acted. I think maybe just what happened was, The Rock didn't come back initially to lose that match. I think that's probably what the attitude was, and maybe Cena felt like he should win, and maybe it was a lobbying game, not necessarily, the match being predetermined, but the outcome not. You almost have to fight. It's the backstage battle of wrestling. You almost have to fight backstage to kind of retain your spot, because if there's one man who can kind of supersede John Cena in today's wrestling climate, it probably would be The Rock, based on everything that happened. So, Or Cena was just making it up because he wanted to dodge the question. But,
right.
Anyway, speaking of backstage stuff, Court Bauer noted on his podcast that Michael Hayes has been suspended indefinitely by WWE after he was seen drinking with Rosa Mendez following her rehab stint, which the company felt was in poor taste. So he'll probably be gone for several weeks. Not a permanent firing or anything. Meanwhile, Brian James, the Road Dogg, has taken over for him working with Triple H on booking events and in the office. It's been noted by many that Eric Pankowski, who we've mentioned before, is one to thank for the surge in quality and organization this year, and that his departure after SummerSlam has caused the opposite you now see. And here's a good one. Eva Marie, who you might remember from last week's Raw Divas tag team match, as the primary in that match, was actually put in that position on purpose because the company wanted to set her up to fail and knock her ego down a couple of pegs, as she continues to be largely unliked by most in the company.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
Yeah, the fact that she's a dumb little girl, and that she keeps acting like she's better than everybody else and can pull the wool over the eyes of people who are, many, many years above her age. Oh, no, and that she's completely disrespectful? Nah, I can't see why they don't like her.
I don't know what they expect, really. I mean, they get a woman who, her job is basically model/actress. And, not to disrespect every model/actress out there, but, that their job is basically to be pretty, and their skill set is suspects in a lot of ways. Eva Marie's is, anyway. I think she played sports in school and such, but, it's not like she's a... she obviously can't dance. Seeing her athleticism, I mean, she has a nice body and probably a fit body in a way, but, basically what I'm getting at is I don't know what they expect taking someone who is basically a pretty face and has no other skill or experience, putting her not only in their global entertainment organization, but immediately putting her on a national television program as one of its stars. The whole point of the program is to follow her life because she's apparently important enough to be followed and recorded. And then get upset when this girl, who they have put on a pedestal, has to look down, is looking down, I mean, it's like giving somebody a gold medal or a trophy and then getting upset when they display it or wear it around town,
Alright. Speaking of women getting upset, Stephanie McMahon cashed in even more stock this past week, with the New York Post notes the combined $8.3 million cash is for personal reasons, including the building of a house. The government shutdown prevents WWE from scheduling NXT events in several cities, such as Winter Haven and Orlando, due to the National Guard armories being closed. Brooklyn Brawler tweeted a photo of himself with Bruno Sammartino backstage, which accidentally included a sheet that listed the first 7 digits of Vince's office number for the night. Popular wrestling t-shirt site Barbershop Window has been purchased by 1 Hour Tees, who are behind Pro Wrestling Tees, and the site is being reconstructed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't know, Pro Wrestling Tees is sort of a for wrestler, by wrestlers, for wrestlers, that kind of thing. Basically, wrestlers design the t-shirts and sell them on the site. So, sorry, I'm a bit distracted here. Yeah. Like Cole Cabana. Cole Cabana has a lot of his shirts on there. A lot of indie stars, Joey Ryan. Even Goldust has a few shirts on there now. So it'll be interesting to see, because Barbershop Window, they've had some partnerships with some wrestlers in the past. What's his name? Cliff Compton. He's been on there.
Mr. 1869, baby.
Yeah. And, Barbershop, it's more of a, kind of cultural, kind of relevance to wrestling. They have that shirt. They have the $1 Million Man gold tuxedo shirt. They have, stuff like football is fake, stuff like that, They're not all gems, but, it seems like a pretty nice company. And hopefully Pro Wrestling Tees can keep that spirit alive,
Alright, I think that's it for the news. We're going to jump in here with the 15-minute time limit. And this week we're going to be talking about, what's on the run sheet here? Hell in the Cell? Is that really, next week?
It's this coming Sunday.
No. Bound for Glory is this coming Sunday. Hell in a Cell is the next Sunday.
There's a pay-per-view this Sunday for TNA?
I'm looking at my calendar here, and Hell in a Cell is October the 20th, correct?
27th.
Oh. Well, disregard that then. Let's talk about TNA.
You want to talk about Bound for Glory? Which, by the way, if you didn't know, and I'm sure you... And, you know, that's kind of another problem with TNA. Don't forget, Bound for Glory is their WrestleMania. And my cohorts didn't even realize it was on this Sunday.
I'm trying to pull up the card here.
Well, let's start with this. They actually will have a pre-show on Spike TV an hour before the show, and on that show they will have a tag team gauntlet match to determine who will compete for the tag team titles at the pay-per-view itself later in the night. And the teams in that gauntlet match are Bad Influence of Daniels and Kazarian, the team of Eric Young and Joseph Park, the Bromans, Robbie E. and Jesse Goddards, and Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez. So those 4 teams.
When did Chavo get back into TNA?
I don't know, a while ago. Probably it might have been a year, really.
Oh, well. I thought he got in and then he left and then he came back, and then I didn't know he realized he came back basically.
Yeah, I think he's been active ever since last year when he debuted. I think it was around July.
Well, fuck me with a spoon. So what's the card there, Jacob?
Well, it looks like first up on the official part of the card here we have ODB versus Gail Kim versus Brooke.
Not Hogan.
No, Tessmacher.
Tessmacher, okay.
Who you might remember as Brooke from Extreme Expose.
I remember Brooke from being Miss Tessmacher, as in the reference to Superman for some reason or another.
Was that a Superman reference?
Yeah, Lex Luthor's secretary assistant was Miss Tessmacher.
Clever.
Nah, not really. They just still...
Yeah, that was the joke. No. If I cared, I would hope that ODB retains. Apparently she has the title.
ODB with the title is fresh and new, and I believe she won it surprisingly recently.
Basically, ODB won the title because Mickie James was leaving TNA, so they put it on ODB, and the fact that they're having this match doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. These are basically the 3 remaining knockouts, active knockouts, but in recent weeks, they've debuted Lady Tapa, who is a relative of the Barbarian, I believe.
So basically, their version of Tamina.
Yeah, basically. So why they didn't put her in the match, I don't know.
But your guess is as good as mine. Next up on the card here we have Kurt Angle versus Bobby Roode.
Story behind this one, Angle is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year as the second entry alongside Sting. Ego, the contingent of Bobby Roode, Chris Daniels, and Kazarian had their own Hall of Fame ceremony where Bobby Roode was the first inductee, and then Kurt Angle made a surprise return to basically school up Roode and show him that, you know, he's not some broken down guy. He's still that damn real. So sort of a last minute addition, but at least here you have Angle returning from rehab and everything, and he's going to be wrestling.
As Angle slowly it moves towards his retirement and pretty much utter destruction of himself, is it just me, or does he more and more look like Randy the Ram Robinson? It feels like that to me, at least.
One of these days he's gonna jump off the stage to do that senton, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot for him to do anymore. He has a loyalty to TNA because TNA has loved and supported him since he debuted. I think he would like to return to WWE. I think, in Angle's mind, I think if TNA goes under, he would return to WWE and have sort of his swan song. And then maybe get involved in the Olympics since wrestling is pre-established and everything.
Alright, here next up on the card we have the X Division Championship, and it looks like we've got A-Double versus Suicide versus Chris Sabin, Jeff Hardy, and Fatty Joe.
Who's under the Suicide mask right now?
God, who is it? TJ Perkins.
T.A. Perkins. Why does that sound familiar?
They renamed Suicide to Manic. Why it matters now, I don't know. But
that's stupid.
TJ Perkins, who you might also remember as Puma under a mask. He worked as Puma on the independent scene. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't he team with Teddy Hart at some point?
I believe so. Was it during that phase when he had the cats that came to the ring?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Alright, well next up here we have Magnus versus Sting.
Story behind this one is Magnus, who had a huge point lead in the Bound for Glory series, ended up losing it. He's been kind of down on himself for when his sort of defining moment will be, and Sting, his fellow main event Mafia member, has decided to give him the shot to put his name on the map by basically giving him this match at Bound for Glory.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah,
I like that.
If he's saying, I'm the icon, and if you can beat me at the biggest pay-per-view of the year, that'll be, your defining moment. That's actually kind of well thought out, and it makes sense. I'm surprised TNA came up with it.
If they want Magnus to sort of be their new best boy, which they've kind of been grooming him to be, with, there are other guys who have kind of had the rug pulled out from under him. But if they're going to do it, then a win against Sting might be the way to do it. Although I kind of get the feeling that he's gonna have a heel turn.
Quick, someone's doing well. Turn them heel. Quick, someone's doing well as a face. Alright, doing well as a heel. Turn them face. Next up on the card here. Oh, go ahead, Omega. I'm sorry.
I just said you never know, because he's kind of been upset at Sting. That's kind of the thing. He thinks Sting is sort of messing with him.
Oh, of course. It can't just be one guy going, "Hey, I know you want this defining moment. I'm going to give you a shot at it. If you can beat me, then blah de blah." There's got to be some crap going on. Anyways, next up we've got the Tag Team Championship with Storm and Gunner versus the winner of the Gauntlet match. Are they just directly taking from WWE now? Because that isn't that what they've done the last few times? For Like, they keep doing that for the IC and, like, oh, we're having a Royal Rumble. Whoever wins it gets to be on the pay-per-view and face for the IC title. Or special tag tornado switcheroony match. Whoever wins gets to challenge the Shield for the tag team titles.
I don't know, James and Storm. I mean, Storm and Gunner don't really work as a... It's not that they don't work as a team, they just don't do anything with them. And, you know, Bad Influence is really the best tag team.
Storm is just the slacker. That Gunner guy is going to get himself over one of these days.
Yeah.
Alright, and finally, with about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the segment, we've got Emo Styles versus Bully Ray. I'm going to say that Bully Ray is going to win because winning is lame. Everything is lame.
I would not be surprised, to be honest.
I think AJ will win and get his big moment, the moment he had like 3 years ago when he beat Sting, and it was supposed to be a passing of the torch, and then, you know, Sting stayed on and AJ didn't really go anywhere and he got embarrassed a few more times. This might signal the end of the Aces and Eights storyline too, because, you know, everybody's kind of been against Ray lately. And really the only members left are like Garrett Bischoff and not even Wes Briscoe anymore. So where they go from here in terms of a big built-up storyline, I don't know. If Hogan is in fact re-signed or whatever, maybe he makes an appearance. Maybe that kind of sets things off. You know, they're doing this whole thing where Dixie is like the heel authority figure now, and it's very, very early. So if they could do AJ versus Dixie in sort of an, not Austin McMahon, because they won't come anywhere close to that, but that same idea, then, you know, maybe it could be okay. The problem is, you want to talk about a thin roster. TNA kind of has a thin roster. Because you look at this card and you're like, well, it doesn't sound awful, but is this like WrestleMania worthy? Not particularly. So, you know, the fate of TNA as a company aside, their booking wise, it remains to be seen kind of what they do with these guys. But it is kind of funny how, you know, AJ Styles, the so-called future of TNA, you know, 10 years later is still kind of being referred to as that moniker. And it feels like...
As the future of TNA? 10 years in the future, yes.
Yeah,
it's just kind of odd that they're just still stuck in 2002.
It's like they make him champion and make him the face of the company, and then like 5 months later some other new big ex-WWE guy signs, and then they make him drop it, and then the other guy becomes the focus again.
Speaking of ex-WWE guys, isn't Eric Bateman with them now? Derek Bateman, I mean?
Yes, he is a new character called Ethan, who's sort of a Hollywood bigwig type of star guy. He's kind of like Vincent Chase from Entourage if Vincent Chase was just a complete jerk all the time.
I was going to say that sounds awful.
I think Bateman can make it work.
As long as he's funny with it. See how much we care about TNA? We're talking about an ex-WWE guy in TNA, as opposed to TNA.
Yeah, we'll see how much they care if TNA cares about TNA.
Okay, and so that's it for 15-minute time limit. Are we jumping to a song, Angam?
Yeah, I've got one keyed up. If you're into good wrestling themed music, then you probably ought to head on over to shiningwizauto.bandcamp.com, because his wrestling themed music is the best wrestling theme music. Nobody does it better than Shining Rosado. So, just to prove that to you, we're going to play a song by him called Cane Dewey. It's one of my personal favorites, because it's also one of my personal favorite Mick Foley promos. And here we go.
Gonna save your life.
Alright, that was Cane Dewey by Shining Rosado. ShiningRosado.bandcamp.com. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we will be going into segment 3, the kayfabe issues, and maybe, just maybe, Gunner will not be a jackass, and he will play my sound on the very first go. Will it happen? It's not likely, but we'll find out right after the break.